Welcome to Talkin' Jets. My name's Ryan, and I'll be your pilot tonight. I am joined alongside my co-pilots. I have Matt O'Leary and Green Bean, the Jets fan. Boys, how you doing? Green Bean, I'm going to throw it to you first.
I'm great, dude. Any day that you're in that hat is a great day for me. So we're starting with that. This is going to be awesome.
I love it. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Love the t-shirt, by the way.
Right.
That's dope.
Oh,
love it.
yeah.
Hashtag boycott the beat, support independent Jets coverage.
Bam!
And we were able to raise some money for St. Jude's, which is awesome. So much appreciated, as always.
Nice.
I love it. Boys and girls, we got a lot to talk about. Make sure you drop a like on the way in. We're going to be giving away a shirt at the end of this stream. For every 25 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick a qualifier to win at the end of the show. And if you're watching this or listening to this after the fact, fun fact, we do have this in podcast version as well. So if you don't like watching the thing, it is available on the podcast thing. So you can do that as well. But if you're watching this after the fact, all you have to do is leave a comment on this video and you'll be qualified for next week's t-shirt giveaway. All right, let's jump right into it. A hot topic from what it seems like, and that is the New York media attacks Zach's character. This has been an issue all season as far as the beat really like breaking down and just beating up the Jets for everything they do. And this week really hit an all-time high, and that's with 𝐒𝐿𝐿 and Bart Scott and the SNY crew all kind of attacking Zach's character. And I'm not going to lie, I have no desire to watch that post-game at all. I don't know how you guys are feeling. Matt, what are your thoughts on the whole media attacks Zach?
That I was legitimately caught off guard. Like I don't know. It's been years, almost 10 years probably since I watched SNY for Jets post-game coverage. I know the crews changed over the years. I remember back in the day when like Ray Lucas was on and stuff like that. And it was a much better program, but I haven't watched the latest version, but I saw the clips of it and I was like genuinely taken back by it because it didn't feel like they were critiquing that play as much as they were going after Zach as a person, which was that to me was the weirdest part, saying he has a character flaw for making that mistake. And like later we found out after the game what happened. Because in the moment, yeah, I was upset too. I said, why are you running a quarterback sneak when you need 2 yards? That makes zero sense. But then after the game, when you hear it explained, well, it was the end around to Berrios, so we didn't communicate well that it was supposed to go to him, and there was an option for a sneak, and he took that instead. To me, that is your rookie quarterback, rookie head coach, rookie offensive coordinator, 3 guys who are all learning on the fly, making a mistake. You say, okay, fine, learn from it, move on, don't do it again. It's not that Zach is selfish. It's not that he has a character flaw. It's not that he's spoiled. It's not that he has, what do you call him, SpongeBob legs or chicken leg. Like, it was just so weird and out of left field.
Crazy.
Right, Green Bean?
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Green Bean, talk.
I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead. No. I didn't mean to cut him. I was just like agreement. I'm vocal with my agreement. That's all. But yeah, Matt's nailing it, man. I mean, look, number one, I haven't watched that show. I don't watch many shows like that. I just don't. I get my stuff like from the New York Jets about like their transactions, and I don't need the opinions and stuff. But Bart Scott, I like the idea of Bart Scott for many years. Like he's kind of like that former Jet, little bit of an edge to him, and you like some of that stuff. In my opinion, this is that group of guys. 𝐒𝐿𝐿, who was nothing more than a rotational player for us. 𝐒𝐿𝐿 was a good player for us toward the end of his career, obviously on a very good offensive line. You'd like to think that that's our house. Like, so they're going to constructively kind of review stuff. You know, when you listen to Miami post game, like, dude, they're constructive. You go into Indianapolis or up north, like That's their house. They're not going to do that. And that was such a departure from anything that can be construed or considered as professional. It's just not. Like, they're talking about a kid, a 22-year-old kid who, I'll remind everybody, has done everything the right way. He has faltered. He has floundered. He's never once thrown one single person under the bus. He always takes it on the chin. He's begun to cut off the beat writers when they try to get dramatic with him. You see him learning. 2 interceptions in the past 5 or 6 games. I mean, guys, this is exactly the type of scenario that we would want to see for a rookie season. But on top of that, his character is probably the least in question out of any of the attributes that we could talk about where Zach Wilson is concerned. I mean, the guy has done everything the exact way that you'd want to do it. He had 15 sacks in 3 games. He was getting murdered out there. Did he ever say anything about anybody? No, Greg Van Roten blamed him. That's what happened. So we've had all this sort of stuff, and people are always, I mean, Matt put out a great thing. I don't know when you put it out, or if I saw it today, but he put out a thing reminding us that we've been through this before with Zach Wilson, the spoiled rich kid shit that we had to deal with when, before he was drafted. Do you really want this kid? He doesn't even wear a C on his chest. They've been after him the entire time. And it's really upsetting that this is, again, our house. These are 3 former Jets. If they don't want to say something critical, that's fine. But attacking his character, and then Willie Colon the next day was asked about it, and he said, dude, he gave that traditional line when they don't know anything. He said he's never met Zach Wilson, and he does know some things, but he can't say them right now. That's somebody saying, I don't know shit. That's what that is. So for me, yeah, it bothered me. And I'm happy to see fans actually getting on their case. I mean, I saw it all over Twitter and everything. And it's like we're circling the wagons a little bit. Guys, if you don't see the need for the boycott, the beat, these types of guys included, if you haven't before, this is what guys like me, Ryan, and Matt have been seeing for years. Like, this is the stuff we're talking about. Again, it's why we're here in the first place. This is the stuff. They have no interest in giving you news. They have no interest in giving you anything positive to chew on. It's about clicks and ratings, upset the Jets fans at all cost, and they'll get their views. And I think I'm tired of it. I hope Jets fans are too.
Green Bean, you touched on some comments that Willie Colon made. Pat Dunn dropped in with a super chat, said, thoughts on Willie Colon's lame excuse on Carton and Roberts. Was that what you saw? Because I think so. I was going to say, I didn't hear it, so I don't actually know what was said.
Yeah, he said something to the effect, maybe Matt can clarify. Like I'm just seeing stuff float by. I don't go to the Post. I don't go to the Daily News. I don't go there to read this shit. So I did see it where he kind of backtracked a little bit, but he did admit that he's never met Zach Wilson, which is a pretty key component into talking about somebody's character. I mean, from my standpoint, it's one of the things I hold pretty important when I'm going to decimate someone's character. But he said that he knows things, but that he can't say that he won't say them right now. It's not appropriate to say. Like, what?
Oh, get the hell out of here! That's absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'll give you my thoughts, because when I heard that, I was like, you've got to be kidding me. Like, why are we doing this? And I said on my post game, I was like, this is weird. Like, did Zach switch it to this? And then we started hearing out a little bit more information. And for me, I wanted to kind of digest it. So we know it was it was an option play. So he could either run it himself if the A gaps were clear, or he could hand it off to Berrios on the jet sweep. And we lost Green Bean. So he'll be back. So he winds up, he has the option. The A gaps were clear. They showed a still. I saw a still frame. A gaps were clear. Now you look at that and you realize that the reason they're clear is because both defensive tackles lined up over the guards kind of angled themselves away to try and make it look like it was more open than it actually was. And they baited a young quarterback. That's what it was. Yep. Plain and simple. I put the blame 50% on Zach, 50% on LaFleur, Saleh, for even giving him the option to sneak it on a 4th and 2. Like that to me seems like the silliest kind of thing. But look, I love the fact that Zach Wilson recognized the front, saw, hey, I'm supposed to switch to this, just like the coaching staff told him to do. So I love that. 2, I want my quarterback to want to make that play at the end of the game. I don't want him to be like, oh no, I got to hand it off. Oh no, I got to do this. Now, don't get me wrong. I want him to make the right decision, but having your quarterback want to have the ball in his hands for that critical of a play. But look what we saw last week with Trevor Lawrence. The dude ran out of bounds 5 yards before the touchdown that he clearly could have had. And then he winds up spiking the ball on 3rd and 1 on the goal line. Like, come on. Like, rookies are going to make mistakes. Zach Wilson's was not as egregious as other people are making it out to be. It absolutely drives me bonkers. Sorry.
No, you're right. I love it.
Just ranting. Ant Wanil's Metal. Words. Thank you for the super chat. He says, Bart and Willie are jealous because they wish they had a guy like Zach quarterbacking their team on those stacked 2009, 2010 teams. Locker room was torn on Sanchez. I heard a rumor that Bart, and I'll be honest, I don't watch enough of it, but it sounds like Bart was really on the Justin Fields train. So like he was kind of always sort of against Zach Wilson from the start. So it's not, I don't love seeing that. You'd like to think.
I don't know. I don't remember if he was on like Justin Fields or Sam Darnold, but more than likely that was the case. He didn't want Wilson, which whatever. But the frustrating thing is this person brought up Mark Sanchez. He called him Taco and Nacho. Like that's not like, I don't know. Is that not?
That's absolutely like derogatory. Like,
yeah,
I mean, I think right. Like, or it's at least like super not nice.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, and flipped off. What was the article in the Post? I think it was Costello had it, where he was talking about Bart Scott wanting to boycott the media. Ironic. It was like flipping off photographers and stuff like that. So, yeah, he's not the best at it either.
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. Mutt Biles drops in with super chat, says, preach Green Bean. The New York media always dogs anything positive that happens with the Jets, especially with Zach. It was just a mistake from the quarterback, offensive coordinator, and head coach. That's it. Hope Zach goes for 4,500 yards and 45 touchdowns. Dude, you and us both.
Yes.
We all want to see that. I mean, look, I love what we're getting out of Zach. Like, if you could script a rookie season without having like the whole crazy, Lamar Jackson first year or the friggin' Herbert's last year, like all those types of like Mahomes' first full year starting. Like if you get those stories out of the way and you just script, hey, how do I want this kid from a smaller school to adapt to an entirely new coaching staff and NFL and everything like that? Like this is how I'd want it to play out. I'd want to see game 1 and I'd want to see game 17, 18, whatever it is. And I want to see that there's growth from game 1 to now. And I have absolutely seen that across all facets of this team. I mean, except for maybe the defense, but that's kind of went backwards that way. But
yeah. They also lost like, I don't know how many starters. Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. It's ridiculous how many starters we wound up losing. I feel like we're on like safety 7 and 8 right now. Like it's just a joke. You figure you lose Lawson, Joyner, Curry, God, I mean, even throughout the year, you lost Davis for a little bit. Not that was really that big of a thing, but then May,
Huff,
yeah. Nasir Al-Din was for a little bit. Who's the other? Sherwood we lost for the season.
There was a lot. I mean, a lot of bodies. You just said it. You're pretty much your 3 edge rushers that you were supposed to have. How many games did Bryce Huff play this year? 5? Maybe.
So Green Bean says he's here.
Again, we're doing this thing again?
Actually, no. That was before. That was his other text message from before. I'm gonna say, where you at?
Is he okay?
He might have lost internet. Rumor has it. Oh, there he goes. We got him. Bam!
Yeah.
Green Bean.
So yeah, that was before, but it worked. I sent that text before, but it worked now. That's good.
I was like, what the heck's going on? Did you see?
Sorry, dudes. I was in mid something or other too, man. What are you gonna do?
I was having a nice old rant about the Zach Wilson and everything like that. I'll go back real quick. I don't know if you saw it. see. Mutt Viles said, preach green bean. The New York media always dogs anything positive that happens to the Jets, especially with Zach. It was just a mistake from the quarterback, offensive coordinator, and head coach. That's it. Hope Zach goes for 4,500 yards and 45 touchdowns. So, yeah. We definitely want to see that happen as well. And oh no, do we have another freeze bean on our hands? Jonathan drops in with a super chat. There he is. Jonathan jumps into a super chat, says, no days off allowed, green bean.
I'm working. Trust me.
It's all right. It's okay.
I'm working on it. I got thrown back into the Stone Age, dude. I had nothing. It's like I'm surprised my lights didn't turn off.
Do you guys
like everything shut off? So.
Anything more to add as far as the Zach Wilson media sort of circus goes? Green Bean, I don't know if you caught my little rant at the end there. I was saying how I want my quarterback to want the ball in his hands in that situation, 4th and 2. I don't want it to be like Trevor Lawrence where the guy runs out of bounds or spikes the ball on 3rd and 1. Like rookies are going to make dumb mistakes, but like Zach Wilson plays with pride. I have his back 100%.
Yeah, I mean that was my thought. I'm like, wait a minute, isn't that the biggest thing? You want a guy who wants the ball in his hands with 3 seconds left. That's an old adage. It means something good. It's a positive. So how they spun that, I mean, again, man, the only thing I can really say is this has been consistent for years, guys. This has been the beat writers. It's been every show, Francesa, Mike and the Mad Dog, you name it. Every single show, their design, their business model is to rile you guys up, to get us fired up. National media does it. Like Shap last year wrote one article. Why did he do that? Because he knew that Jets fans are the most responsive, that if you get us angry, we make them millions. So we have to stop responding to them, man. If you hate feeling like shit all day, then leave these guys in your past. Unfollow them, block them, all that stuff, and you'll never hear it again. And then we can tell the Jets what's really going on and how much we support them and everything. That was a great-ass game, and we lost. The young team got beat by the wise old vets in the last minute. What do you know what I mean? Hey, shit happens.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know?
No, absolutely. You can't get on these kids about it.
It was a great game, man.
If you guys are just dropping in, make sure you hit that like button on the way in. We're going to pick a qualifier for every 25 likes we get on this video. Someone's going to win a shirt at the end of this stream. If you're watching this after this stream is aired, just drop a comment down below, and you'll be entered into next week's t-shirt giveaway as well. So make sure you have that. All right, let's switch gears a little bit. Braxton Barrios should not be re-signed at. No, I'm kidding. Braxton Barrios, 10 touches, 77 yards, 2 touchdowns. We got word yesterday. Rumors coming out that he and the Jets are working towards a contract extension. He is playing out the final year of his 3-year, $2-ish million deal or so. So again, 10 touches, 77 yards, and 2 touchdowns. This guy has been our most reliable target the entire season. Just from point A to point B, the kickoff returns, the punt returns, the jet sweeps, the quick slants, all that stuff. Berrios has absolutely thrown me shades of 𝐒𝐴𝐿, and I absolutely love it. I want Braxton Barrios back in green and white. Contract-wise, I'm thinking somewhere around whatever Darren Sproles kind of got. He was in that $4 to $5 million range. Maybe you increase due to inflation. I said 3 years, $18 million was kind of where I would peg Berrios.
Oh, wow.
If you want to say a little bit lower with escalation up to that, I'm fine with that too. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on Berrios?
Well, number one, I think, we were critical of him early going. Not to say we didn't like him. I think most of us liked him. But, like, for example, the second game against the Patriots, our home opener, when he was the most targeted receiver, I think it was 11 targets, 10 targets, something like that. I had a problem with that in the beginning of the season. But the guy has shown up every single week. Has dealt with the rotation carousel of wide receivers starting over him, and he's been consistent the whole year. Minimal drops, great on special teams, and I think he's earned it, man. He's the guy who came from the bottom rung. There was even talks about Vincent Smith or Jeff Smith pushing him off the roster. That is no longer the case, and I think that it's good news that we're talking talking about extending him. I think he absolutely deserves it. I think you got to do it before he hits free agency because somebody's going to overpay. I think that the Patriots would love to steal him back from us, and they would be willing to give him an extra little bit to do that specifically to us. And we can't let that happen. So I think 3 for 18 is going to be a little bit low. I think that's the floor. I'd be very happy with that. You know, there were guys saying, you know, to me, you can't pay him more than $3 million a year. I said, then say goodbye to him, man. It's not happening. I mean, it's just not happening. 3 for 18 would be great. I think it's probably going to be 3 for 23 kind of a thing, 18 guaranteed. That's what I think. But I'd like to see 4 years, 4-year, you know, 4th year voidable by the Jets kind of a thing. Front load the contract to smear it out a little bit. But I'd like to see Berrios back, and I'm thinking somewhere around 7 and change per year. Don't forget, he's more than likely he's going to compete for the starting third wide receiver, maybe starting slot with their desire to push more to the X. So I could see it, man. I think his special teams and his third string wide receiver, he's an impact. So I wouldn't have any problem with it. I say get it done.
So I definitely think that the contract wise for Berrios, Crowder was signed for 3 years, $28.5 million or so. I would be surprised if it got that high, but I do think you're probably right, Green Bean. It's probably going to be a little higher than people want. You'll get people a little fired up. I think he's going to compete for the third wide receiver slot to start, but I do think we bring in a rookie or we bring in a free agent in some capacity, and I do think it's going to be Davis, player that isn't here yet, Elijah Moore as our main 3 receivers, with Berrios kind of being that 4th receiver that's going to see the field 50% of the time anyway, or starting at the beginning of the season while the rookie or new player kind of gets their feet sort of wet. Matt, your thoughts on Braxton Barrios?
I think you guys are coming in a little bit high for me, and I'll explain. I want to bring him back. I think he's been a great special teamer, and I think he'd be a really good wide receiver for next year. But I wouldn't be able to justify paying my 4th receiver $6 or $7 million a year. 5.5. Okay. You could sell me on that. I think 6 or 7's getting up there a little bit. And another reason why I'd be concerned if he's part of the Jets starting wide receiver trio next year would be that they would be relying on 2 receivers under 5'10". And I just don't think that you're going to be able to succeed in the offense that way. I think you're going to need a bigger guy on the outside with Davis and have more mix in the slot and outside, and have Berrios kind of spell him. And I mean, let's be honest, injuries happen all the time. Your 4th wide receiver is going to play and play a good amount. I want him back. I think it makes all the sense in the world to bring him back. But if we're talking about $7 million for a 4th receiver, that's a lot of money.
It is. I'm looking at the wide receiver contracts right now. I don't know. I wish they had numbers next to like ranked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But you're probably talking, if you give him $7 million, he's just below Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley's contract, I believe, was 3 years, $29 million. Or is it 4 years, 29? I guess it's 4 years, $29 million. Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4 years, $29 million from the Bills. Maybe you consider that more of what Crowder should have got. Now, we did see Joe Douglas restructure Crowder's deal down to a $5.5 million deal. So that's probably more in line with position-wise what Douglas would like to pay. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on Douglas renegotiating with Crowder, and how does that affect Berrios' contract, if at all?
Well, have we got any reports that they're going to do that? I mean, I think that I would love Crowder back. I would love to keep. Kezee Cole can go. Whatever they're going to do with Denzel Mims.
Focus, Green Bean. Sorry, Crowder renegotiated last year.
All right,
down
I was
to 5
listening. I promise.
Or not last year, but beginning of the season, like August.
Oh,
down
he did.
to 5.5, down from his $9 million a year. So do you think Douglas wants to pay someone for that type of role?
Yeah, he was making just about 10.
Who?
Yeah, I think that I mean, look, I don't disagree with Matt. Am I even here today? I don't know. I'm like
Here.
frozen and
it feels like
everything.
you're
There's
like
a
way
disconnect.
behind. All right, so Green Bean, let's focus. Jamison Crowder.
Yeah, I'm with you.
3-year, $28.5 million deal. He was in the final part of his deal going into this year. He renegotiated his contract down from that like $9 to $10 million figure down to $5.5 million. So my question is, do you think that Joe Douglas wants to pay someone more in that $5.5 million range as opposed to where we may think that Berrios might deserve? I don't know if that made sense.
Yeah. Well, look, and I think the precedent is there. You know what I mean? Like Joe Douglas likes to get his deals, you know what I mean? And he's probably going to try that, of course. And I have no problem with it. But I think Berrios is also an ace special teamer as well. And I think he's the kind of guy that you know has worked his way up. It sets a real tone. Like when guys say we got to start keeping our own, like Berrios is the guy that was an afterthought by most people. He was just a guy on the team. You know, he fit a role here, he did something there. Jack of all trades kind of a guy, and he's really kind of stepped up and become something on this team, very reliable. So I think when you pay a guy like that, and I'm not saying to break the bank, but I could totally see a $7.5 million a year because he does have a dual role. He's the punt returner, he's the kickoff returner, and he's even if he's like Matt said, the fourth wide receiver. I think 7.5 for that. When you want to set that tone and tell people, hey, man, I don't give a shit who you are on this team. You work, you come in and you perform and you succeed here. Like, we're going to take care of you. I don't give a shit what your pedigree is. I think that'll set a nice tone. And I think that's what Jets fans have been talking about for a long time. Like, pay the guys that you need to pay. And I think Berrios is that guy.
Yeah, when I'm looking at other receivers, so Jamison Crowder, $5.5 million, 𝐒𝐮𝐞𝐫𝐢𝐻𝐭, $5.5 million. So I guess $5.5 million is probably where Douglas is going to want to be. Now, I do think that the salary cap going up could skew that slightly, but hopefully they can get him kind of locked down there. Let's see.
Yeah.
Garcus Bloodlust. Thank you for the super chat. Says the problem is Moore can do everything Braxton Barrios can do, and we would be taking away touches from Moore if we design plays for Braxton Barrios. That's my only concern. I don't think anyone wants to take away touches from Elijah Moore. I think the idea is you bring back Braxton Barrios so that way you can use him as kick and punt return and wide receiver 4, so that way you're not injuring a player that might be more valuable. Like not saying that Braxton Barrios is not valuable, but having him do kick and punt return and also be your starting wide receiver is you're kind of playing with fire there. Not to mention, Matt said it before, I think most of us would like to see Berrios spell more, not take away reps from Moore. Obviously, we spent a second round pick on Moore. We think his ceiling is incredibly high. I would be very surprised if we did see that at all. So I don't think we're going to be pulling anything away from Elijah Moore. Alex drops in with a super chat. Alex says, do you guys think the Jets should go for Stingley? It's more important to build around Zach. I'd like Linderbaum, Williams, Arnold, 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐞𝐞𝐬, blah, 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 however you say that name. Matt, if you know how to do it, chime in. Kyler Gordon is the other one. So I don't know who the last three are, so I apologize. But I do understand the concept of the question itself, and that's, do you load up on offense again, help Zach, and then worry about defense later on? And that's kind of where Joe and I were having a discussion yesterday. We're like, man, it's going to be interesting how that kind of works next year. Because if you're going all offense, you're expecting this defense to be pretty bad. Like, you're getting Lawson back. Maybe you bring back Joyner. I don't think Curry ever plays again. So you really need to infuse this defense with talent. But if you're saying, hey, we can get safety talent in rounds 3, 4, 5, we can get linebacker talent in 3, 4, 5, and then you want to just say go, I don't know, tackle or guard high, wide receiver high, tight end in the second round with like Trey McBride, and then insert whoever else you want in the second round. It's interesting to kind of think that way. I'm probably somewhere in the middle. I would say safety is a position I would kind of like to address in free agency. I don't I don't want to say I don't love the idea of Hamilton, but the more I kind of think about it, the more I don't necessarily want to risk taking him that high. I think for me, depending on where we fall, if we're sitting at number 4, I would much rather trade down from 4 into the early teens or so, try to pick up a first for next year and take a receiver, a linebacker, a guard there, and then draft our edge rusher with the Seattle pick, depending on where that is. I think it could fall as far as 12 or 13, if I'm not mistaken. But as far as Stingley, no, I do not want Stingley at all. So, Matt, what are your thoughts on Stingley? And do you think it's more important to build around Zach? What would you kind of approach this draft pick or selections with?
Yeah, I'm not taking secondary in the first round. That's not how I want to build this team. I think Stingley has a chance to be a good player. There is risk involved because he had injuries in his college career, so that scares me a little bit. I would either say if you're going to go defense high, I would say edge, because this team desperately needs another one on the other side of Carl Lawson, who didn't get to play at all this year. Or if you want to go on the offensive side, then I would go O-line like Evan Neal and a wide receiver and try to make life really easy. I'm very much so a proponent of taking a wide receiver with the second first. But there's many different ways that you could skin this cat, I feel like.
Completely agree. Green Bean, what about you? How are you feeling about Derek Stingley? And is it more important to build around Zach in the early stages of this draft?
Yeah, I like how Matt said it. There's so many ways to skin this cat. I'm not a big fan of taking Stingley or a cornerback in the first. You guys know the only defensive back I would take in the first is Hamilton. I get why people don't want to, and I'm there as well. But other than him, I would rather go numerous other ways. I'm also warming up to the idea of the wide receiver thing. I'm really hoping they do go defense. Like I would love, hypothetically, 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐿 and Nakobe Dean or Devin Lloyd like that. I would love that first round. If they decide to go wide receiver, I'm fine with it, but I wouldn't take Stingley.
Let's see what else we got going on. I saw another one in here. Where did it go? Sorry. Trying to do multiple things all at once does not work. Matt, so Green Bean and I last week did a fun thing after about, I guess, what would you say, Green Bean? It was probably around 9 o'clock when we started this. We each found a mock draft and we pulled it up and we showed it on the screen and we were just kind of dissecting it and seeing okay, how we kind of go through everything. It was a blast. It was a lot of fun. So
okay,
if while I'm talking and kind of doing all this stuff, if you want to find one, Green Bean, if you want to find one, we'll share our screens around 9 o'clock or so. And then we'll kind of go through some mock drafts and things that are kind of popping up.
A Jets one or a first round one?
First round one.
Okay.
So we'll do a first round one. We could say first 2 rounds. If you happen to find a mock draft that has the first 2 rounds, we'll go into those top 4 picks. All American. It's kind of like that. Sorry. I wanted to ask this last night, and I'm sorry if it was mentioned already, but what about a 1-year deal and give Will Fuller a shot? Free agent, I believe. Will Fuller is a free agent. I don't trust that he's going to be healthy, and I think my biggest concern, I shouldn't say biggest concern, my biggest attribute that I want to look for in players in this draft and in free agency is health. Unless you're getting someone that's so astronomically talented at such a discount that it's worth having, I would much rather have healthy guys that are slightly worse than Will Fuller than bringing him in for whatever the amount is and having him sit on the sideline the entire time. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on Will Fuller?
Yeah, I love the way it was just said about the health. We're the Jets and we're injury prone as an organization. So I think if somebody has an injury history, just take them off your list. That's how I see it. We need guys that have never been injured before to come in here and make it. And maybe by then our medical team's benefit will start to settle in. But I say no to Fuller.
What about you, Matt?
I found a mock draft that I absolutely hate, by the way, so I can't wait to
awesome. Can't wait. This is going to be awesome. I really like mock draft. We got to come up with some kind of cool name for this because it's not I don't know. I'm excited. Matt, tell me your thoughts on Will Fuller.
I listen, Will Fuller, when he's actually on the field, is extremely talented. The guy never, ever, ever freaking plays. Ever. So I'm gonna pass on Will Fuller.
I think we're all on board there. But thank you so much for the super chat, dude. It's good thought nonetheless. Always got to have every stone unturned. Jack Filipowski, thank you so much for the super chat. Says trade Seattle pick with Philly for 2 of their first. Take Karlaftis, a wide receiver, and a linebacker. Yeah, everyone that wants to trade down is talking about the Eagles and getting 2 first-round picks. Jack, sorry. I think it would be very surprising if we wound up with an additional first this year. I think what's going to happen, if you want to get value and trade down from number 4, talk up the quarterbacks, get someone to jump in front of the Giants. Maybe that Seattle pick winds up in front of the Panthers and you sort of have a similar type of situation, but I would rather move back from 4 that could possibly be more of a no man's land and slide back, get a first for next year. I don't care. I don't need any more picks this year. I would much rather move down and accumulate picks in future years. Aside from like the initial first round pick that you'd wind up getting. So I guess, Matt, could you see the Jets trading down with the Seattle pick? And do you think Philly would bite on giving up 2 firsts?
Yeah. The reason why I was kind of like stretching and like almost concerned, like why is Philly looking to trade up? What are they trading? So they just traded up last year.
So in the mock draft that I pulled up, so they have at number 14, they have them taking Nakobe Dean. At number 21, at number 19, Chris Olave. At number 21, Ahmad Gardner. Sauce Gardner. I would say, maybe you get 19 and 21 for number 7 right now. Like, that's an interesting thought. You take your edge rusher at 4 and then you have 2 other. I would do that. That's interesting. I don't think what's Philly coming up to get though? That's really the issue.
Right. Like they're not coming up to, I don't think they're coming up to get a quarterback. They're a playoff team this year. You know what I mean? Like they're a surprise playoff team. I don't think they're going to do any damage, but I don't see them as a team that's going to come up and try to make a move like that. I just don't.
Yeah, that's kind of my thinking as well. When I'm looking at teams that would want to move up, I'm looking at teams like Washington at number 9. I'm looking at maybe the Broncos at 11, depending on what happens with the whole Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers situation. Maybe the Saints at 15, the Steelers at 17.
Got to get the Panthers.
The Panthers. Well, so the Panthers
jump up
are all the way up
1.
at 6. If the Panthers want to jump from 6 to 4 and give us something nice to leapfrog the Giants, I'd be all about doing that.
Right. Take Sam. We'll take Sam in a first.
Get the hell out of here. Absolutely not. Not happening. But Greenby, what are your thoughts on the Philly 2 first-round picks for our?
No, I agree with Matt, man. Like the thing, it's always fun to talk about this stuff. And if anybody loves it, it's me. But when you're talking about trade ups or trade backs, you have to realistically look at why would the team we're talking about want to trade up? Who's there for them? And I don't see it either for Philadelphia. I don't see, 2 first-round picks is just immensely valuable unless you're going up for a quarterback or something that you desperately need that you can't get later in the draft. I don't really see it. I would definitely consider it, 2 first-round picks for your, we have 2 already, so getting 2 out of 1 there and being able to still have 1 high first-round pick, I think that would be a slam dunk in most instances, but I don't think it's realistic to ponder. We'll play with it, I'm sure, this offseason once or twice, but I don't see it really happening.
Absolutely. Justin Rivera, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I hope we go heavy on defensive back and free agency. Reed, J.C. Jackson, Joyner. So the draft, we can go defensive end, wide receiver, tight end, inside, offensive line, first 4 picks in that order. J.C. Jackson is definitely my highest corner that I would like to get. I think pulling away someone from a division rival creates a spark that you don't get by signing a free agent from another team, because you have 2 games a season where this guy's going to be more juiced up trying to prove to his old teammates that he's better than them. Not to mention J.C. Jackson gets his hands on like every football. So I really, really like that. As far as Joyner, I would love to bring Joyner back. Reed, which Reed is he talking about?
Ed Reed.
Ed Reed.
Yeah.
I don't think
Right.
Ed Reed. That sounds like it's probably
Reed and
wrong.
Lofton, man. Ed Reed.
Might be wrong. But anyway, okay, so we could draft defensive end, wide receiver, tight end, inside into your offensive line. I would say those are definitely the top 4 picks I would like to go. Whether or not they're in that order, edge, I would say yes. Tight end is probably in the right spot. I think wide receiver and offensive line are probably interchangeable for me. It just depends who's on the board. Matt, what are your thoughts on going defensive back heavy in free agency so we could go defensive end, wide receiver, tight end, O-line in the draft?
We figured it out. The chat helped us out. It was Justin Reed, R-E-I-D, the safety of the Texans.
There it is.
Okay, that makes way more sense.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. My brain's incomplete. The chat's a lot smarter than I am. Sorry. What was your question?
The question
was it on this order?
Go defensive back heavy with defensive back heavy in free agency, and then in the draft go edge, wide receiver, tight end, O-line in that order.
I do think that you need to, supplement your secondary in free agency. I would say for safety and corner, I'm in the sign one, draft one category, but not with one of the first 2 picks. You can sell me on starting to look at those positions in the second round. And I think you could probably find a tight end in the 3rd round who could be an impact right away. That's another position that I want to sign one, draft one. But yeah, this is a good plan. And I like this one from Justin here, the DB heavy, and then go defensive end like Karlaftis, Williams, McBride, and interior offensive lineman. That could be awesome.
I mean, what about you? Where you stand on defensive backs in free agency and then edge, receiver, tight end, O-line in the first 4 picks of our draft?
Well, how badly do we need to go? I mean, heavy on defensive backs. I mean, I guess if we're talking about safeties and stuff like that, but don't forget, this is literally, if all the juniors declare, this is literally the strongest safety class, deepest safety class in 20 years. So you don't let that pass you and then go overpay an older dude when you have just a pool of talent for the cheap, whether it's a 1st round pick or 2nd round pick, maybe not, but there's going to be excellent safeties in the 3rd through 5th as well. You're going to be able to get some really good value there. So I would say, I mean, if you want to get one cornerback, but I like Michael Carter II. I like Bryce Hall. I'd love to see like that really good lockdown corner with him. But again, I don't see that as the priority. I think edge, aren't we ready to have an actual linebacker in here with CJ Mosley? Like, I mean, we watched 16 games. I mean, we see Micah Parsons. We see what these guys do. Like, I miss the days of having like fearsome linebackers, man. And then, if we want to bring Joyner back, great. I don't, 1 year, see what he does. I mean, sadly, we didn't see him for more than 5 minutes. But again, I think safety should be addressed in the draft. And I also think edge with our first pick should more than likely be addressed in the draft. But I'd also like to see linebacker in the draft. So I don't know. I like our cornerbacks, so I don't know how heavy I'd go. But yeah, that's what I got.
So I got a bone to pick with you, Green Bean. You said the best safety class in the last 20 years. What happened to Jamal Adams, Malik Hooker, Marcus May, and Buda Baker? That's 4 right there, and I'm sure there's probably others in that draft class.
That's 4 right there.
That was a good draft.
Yeah, that was a good one.
4 big safeties.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Look, you can have 4, 5, 6. I mean, look, there's 4 or 5 highly regarded edge rushers in this class, and this is not considered a deep edge class. It's top heavy. So not to say there won't be good ones later, but it's not considered a strong edge class. It's strong up top. Like the premium edges are legit. But once they're gone off the board, it's like a cliff. It falls off a cliff. Safeties, you're going to be able to get starting quality safeties in the 4th, 5th round. That's what we're talking about.
Brett Unger, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me see if I can get it actually pulled up on the screen. Hold on, sorry. I put it in the wrong spot. Psh, I'm bad at this. I wish they would let me hold down, like, have a separate area for super chats so I can actually like keep them in the chat a little longer. All right, bam. So, oh, sorry, I missed the B. Benji Unger, thank you for the super chat. Says, I think people see the tape on Hamilton, they will change their mind. The dude is a freak, and his energy is A+. I'm not totally against Hamilton. I'm just very cautiously. No, you know what? I don't want to have to pull the trigger on Hamilton. I think if I had to pick my top 3 pick, or like my top 4 or 5 situations that would happen, Hamilton is like the 5th one. I'm taking Hutchinson, then Thibodeau, then Neal, then trade down, then Hamilton is probably. I don't even know if Hamilton's my 5th option. Like, I might go Karlaftis or 𝐒𝐿𝐵𝐲 at that point. I don't know. Matt, what are your thoughts on Hamilton at all? Are you like kind of dead set against safety that high up?
2 words. Luxury. Luxury position. No, this is not. This isn't what the Jets need to do, and especially with how they're going to try to play defense. They want to rush the passer and get after the passer. Hamilton could be generational all he wants. I think he's going to be a good player in this league. But how many times have we heard this story with the Jets specifically? Oh, player X fell to them. They got this generational player. Leonard Williams was generational. Jamal Adams was generational. Quinn Williams was generational. That's 3 generational players since the 2015 draft, and they made the playoffs 0 times since then. So I'm really tired of these generational players that maybe don't fit the need of what the Jets are actually looking for. And now I know you traded Leonard Williams, so Quinn Williams, yeah, he's been good, pay him, all that stuff, fine. But I'm over it, man. And we have a long way to go still. And people like Kyle Hamilton.
We don't have any safeties. We don't have any safeties though. None.
So you're going to spend a top 5 pick on a safety, Green Bay?
I'm just saying, hey, it's like you said, when you're talking about luxury picks, and I totally get what Matt's saying, but when you talk about a luxury pick, it's not a position that you've started 8 different people at this year and literally are signing people off the street and they're starting for you 3 days later. I mean, we need somebody there. We've been picked on back there. You know, we've had very little success with that position this year, and we need one. So maybe, look, you know, you don't want to use your first on it. That's fine. But luxury, I think, is a bit off because we don't have any. We don't have any safeties.
Take Jordan Battle at 35 for them.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
sure. If you guys want to hear some good stuff, Dom C wrote an article on my webpage that is fantastic. He breaks down, I think, 5 or maybe 6 safeties, 2 of the top ones, a mid-round guy and a sleeper. And it's amazing. You want to get to know some guys. He did a great job. But that's the thing, man. It's like, I'm with it. You don't want to take Hamilton in the first. Nobody else is a first-round safety. You can start thinking about the Jordan Battles of the world, the Fiskers of the world, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and that would be fine. But as long as we get one, you know what I mean? We need one. We need a young safety in here.
Patrick Dunn, thank you so much for the super chat. Patrick says, public service announcement, Dan Feeney can play center.
Overreaction.
No, absolutely
Get him,
not.
Matt.
He ran the ball down their throat, and we went. We didn't go right up the gut. But look, he went up against Vita Vea, and he played all right. His run blocking was very good. Pass blocking, not so much. But it's okay. Like, backup center, I'm okay with Dan Feeney. He's a glue guy. He's got the mullet. He goes to the Islander games, Matt. I know you love him. Come on.
I want to get blasted with Dan Feeney. I don't want to watch him play center.
Hell yeah, right? That's the guy. That's the guy, man. You want to have a good time.
But as a depth player, I think he's more than fine.
What about the bad snap on 3rd down? That was killer.
That sucked. Look, it was awful. Horrible. That's why he's a backup. Maybe we shouldn't get hurt.
That's true. The point remains, I don't want him starting for this team. If he could be the backup, they could have all the awesome social media stuff. He'd go to the Islander games, smash beers on his head, but I don't want him starting. Overreaction, Pat Dunn.
Fair enough. Greenbean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, and look, and if he comes in for 2 games, like that's what you want your backup to do. You want him to come in, hold the fort for a game, 2 games, and then go back to the background. That's what you want your backups to do. And hopefully we never see him again. You know what I mean? After this week.
Fair enough. Green Bean, make sure you pull up a mock draft. Matt's got one right now.
I can't. All right, I'll try. My internet is so fickle. I don't even have the YouTube open. But anyway, all right, I'll try.
Well,
where are you
whatever.
going, Matt?
It's all right. Matt and I can go back and forth, and we could all talk about it. So don't worry about it, Green Bean.
Yeah.
Kyle
I'll
Ormsby.
try. Hold on.
Kyle drops in with a super chat, says, I'm sure JD will have a good draft. However, I'm concerned he won't be as aggressive as we need him to be in free agency. He can be reserved when it comes to free agency. Kyle, ever since Joe Douglas has gotten here, he has told us exactly what he's going to do. He's going to build this team through the draft, and he's going to supplement it through free agency, and I think that's what we're going to see. I don't think he's going after anyone big. I don't think you're going to see him go after Devontae Adams, Allen Robinson. None of those really, really big-name guys. I'd be very surprised if you saw him do that. Now, I would say that draft-wise, I do think he'll be – well, I'll say he'll be fine, just like Kyle says. Free agency-wise, I think he has a better understanding this year of what we need for next year. Like, I think free agency last year was, okay, let's get some guys that Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur, Jeff Ulbrich really like, and we could bring them in, help, but we want to grade this roster in this new 3-4, in this new zone blocking scheme, and you kind of sort of hold your chips a little bit until you know what you want to spend your money on. I think Douglas will spend some money this offseason. It's not going to be on anything crazy. I think the peak contract you're going to see is somewhere around Carl Lawson, maybe Corey Davis, like somewhere in that $13 to $15 million a year. I don't think we see anyone higher than that. I'd be pretty surprised. But look, I'm looking forward to the draft. I really am. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on Joe Douglas's approach? Do you think he'll do well in the draft? And then do you think he will be aggressive in free agency? And how do you feel how he has handled free agency so far?
Well, before the season, a lot of us, myself included, were saying that this was one of the quietly more sound free agencies that we've put together. Now, a lot of those guys got injured, obviously Carl Lawson, Vinny Curry, Ronald Blair, those types of guys. But we thought that it was a pretty good free agency. It was quiet. He didn't get the Thuneys of the world and all that, which a lot of fans wanted us to, the Gallaudays. But I think we did a really good job. Again, a lot of those guys stay healthy, and it's a different story. But I think that Joe Douglas might be a bit more aggressive this year because we already have our quarterback, and our quarterback has played for a year. So it's kind of, now we're in that window. You know what I mean? Now we're in that rookie quarterback window that a lot of teams try to really make a push and get it done during those years. So I think that we might see a little bit more aggression from him than we've seen in the past. That said, just like I think you said it, Ryan, I'm not thinking Adams is coming here, and I don't think he's going to go to that tier, but I do think that he might bring in a little bit more top tier type talent than we've seen in the past. And I think he's done a great job, man. I don't love everything, dude. I really don't. But I think he's done a really, really good job managing the drafts, both of them. I still like the 2020 draft class. I know I argue about it every single day on Twitter. I'm not ready to write him off. It looks rough. It does. I'll give him that. But I'm still a big Becton fan, and on and on and on. So, but last year's draft class is doing great, man. Doing great. And there's a lot of guys like the Nasraldeens that are still developing. We have Hamilcar Rashid and all that. So I think he's done a good job, and I'm really psyched about this draft. We have a lot of capital up top, and I can't wait to use it.
I think when you look at the 2020 draft and you want to be critical of Joe Douglas, I think if you want to sort of gauge what his approach was, it looked like he went for like freak athletes because he wasn't sure what was going to go on with Adam Gase, but you look at Becton, you look at Mims, you look at Ashton Davis. At least those first three picks are all very high athletic, high motor type guys. I don't know. I think he kind of had a method to the madness. It just didn't really work out the way we had planned. So hopefully he can have more of the 2021 draft and not more of the 2020 draft. Matt, what are your thoughts on Joe Douglas being aggressive in free agency?
I think he has to be smarter in free agency. Like, for instance, Gerard Davis being your first free agent signing it's bizarre. I don't know why that was such a priority, and they barely got anything from him. Fear Pryor, very quiet. I'm not saying, you spend like a drunken sailor or anything like that, like Mike McCagnon. That was, way too far on the other extreme. But I do think he needs to be a little bit more aggressive in both free agency and in trades for acquiring a player, not trades of a player and acquiring assets, like using one of your billion mid-round picks and trade for a guy who maybe has a big contract on a team cap, with some cap issues, and get a little creative that way. So I think this is a fair concern or criticism from Kyle.
I've got a name in mind for a trade. I was thinking this player might get released, but maybe it's more beneficial for us to trade for him. And let me pull it up just real quick so I'm aware of what I'm talking about. But I know this player is likely to be released. Yeah, I wouldn't trade for this. No, I'd wait for him to be released. Okay, so Amari Cooper has no more guaranteed money left on his contract. He's due. His next 3 cap hits are $22 million over the next 3 years. If we traded for him, it would be $20 million, $20 million, $20 million. He's a player that I would like the Jets to attempt to go after if he is cut, because I don't think he's going to get anywhere near that number at this point. And they may decide that they want to run it back with their first-round draft pick and CeeDee Lamb, and maybe retain Michael Gallup on a cheaper deal. Even though he just tore his ACL, he should be back beginning of the season at some point next year. And I'm pretty sure the Cowboys are in cap hell. Let me before I actually say that, let me actually double check it, because I'm pretty sure they're like way over for next year.
They might be.
Remember the Saints last year, Ryan? Remember the Saints were $108 million over the cap, and they figured it out.
Yeah, I think they're 50. So right now, the Cowboys would have $2 million because they're rolling over 15. They're below by $13 million for next year, so a net of 2. It's going to cost them about $10 million to sign their draft class. So they're going to have to make some cuts, and they have – how many players they have under contract? 42 players under contract. So they got to sign 11 guys plus their draft class, or 11 guys including their draft class, however you want to look at it. I don't know. Kind of interesting. I like Cooper. I just I don't like him at $20 million at all.
No.
Let's see. I saw another one. Where's Pat? Pat Dunn drops in with super chat. Says, "Why do people think Becton is injury prone? It's a lazy argument." Agreed. He's not injury prone. He's just big. That's what it is. He got rolled up on, and he's just a big dude trying to overcome an injury that is kind of. It's a weight-bearing injury. Like your knee bears your entire weight. It's just kind of how it goes. I don't know. Matt, any thoughts on why people think Becton's injury-prone?
The beat.
Yeah, there it is.
They started the narrative. That's it. He's fat, out of shape, lazy. I don't know. It is a lazy argument. If you used your eyeballs, he came into camp in really good shape, actually. The workout videos he was posting, who's it, Duke Mayweather, I think, right?
Yep, exactly.
He looked like he was in phenomenal shape. He played 14 games last year, and he missed pretty much the entire year this year. It sucks. I was hoping he's going to come back, but setbacks happen. He dislocated his kneecap as an offensive lineman. Like that's not an easy thing to recover from. I think he is back next year and plays at a high level. So I'm not worried about Becton.
Greenby, what about you and the Becton injury?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, Matt just nailed it on 3 or 4 different levels. I mean, the narrative was created unfoundedly. Remember, Duke Mayweather, Becton's trainer, in response to that narrative, put out those videos and said there is literally no truth to what they're talking about. There was even that comment by one of the beat writers that he's eating himself to death. That was the concern. They said he was 40 pounds overweight, which would mean that he's 405 pounds. That's what they were trying to tell us. So look, the injury sucks. I mean, he played at a Pro Bowl level last year. He was dominating. Matt put out that thing, the little clip of him kind of taking Bosa to school. Remember that? He handled Nick Bosa without a problem. And that's the guy that we have, and it's look, he got rolled on this year. We all wanted him back. He didn't come back. Nobody knows the real reason. And I'm not worried. I think, hey, fine, let him rest, let him get healthy for next year. Make sure he's doing the off-season stuff, and let's get our dominant tackle back next year. That's how I feel.
Edward Ziff drops in with the super chat. He says, "What about Treylon Burks?" Correct me if I'm wrong. Burks is the Arkansas wide receiver. Okay, love him.
Yeah,
big fan of Burks. Big fan of Drake. I started doing a little bit of research into the wide receivers, and I would say Williams, Treylon Burks, not in any particular order, but Williams, Treylon Burks, London, and David Bell are probably the 4 receivers that I think kind of make sense for us, whether you're trying to go with a bigger body guy like Burks or London, or someone maybe a little shiftier. I feel like David Bell's probably too close to like Elijah Moore and Braxton Barrios, but if they're looking to maybe have the tight end be the big guy, then maybe Bell sort of makes sense. But I like Treylon Burks a lot. Matt, you've done any work on Burks at all?
Oh yeah. He so when you look at the wide receivers at the top, Drake London, I'll be honest, I like him. He's the USC receiver, right? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have to do a little bit more on him, but I'm very intrigued with what I have seen so far. With Treylon Burks compared to the 2 Ohio State guys and Jameson Williams, he isn't going to be a route technician, but he is going to go up and grab any jump ball. And he is extremely tough to tackle, not because of his speed, but like he almost runs like a tight end. But he's 6'4" with better speed. So I feel like he would just be dominant with the ball, going up and getting it, huge red zone threat, which the Jets probably need that the most. But I understand the Jameson Williams appeal because I think he has the highest ceiling of these wide receivers. And while he's not exactly like go up and high point a ball kind of a guy like Burks is, I still could see the Jets falling in love with him too. But yes, I like Treylon Burks a lot.
Green Bean, what about you? Know anything about Treylon Burks?
Yeah. I'm just in the early stages of kind of digging into these guys. But yeah, I think Burks is one of the guys. I really hope that we don't choose to go first round with our wide receiver, but if we do, I get it. But so I'm looking at guys in the second round. And Burks, from what I'm seeing now, has the potential to be a second round pick. So I like him there. I mean, look, it's just the worst that we have to go ahead and think about a 6'3" wide receiver again with the skill set that we already have in camp. I hate it. It bothers me on so many levels that we got to think about this again. But I do think that we should grab one. I got into a conversation yesterday or something about, remember how we were all kind of scratching our head with what the Bengals did in the draft, grabbing Chase over Sewell and all that sort of stuff. And it worked, man. I mean, it's like, you know what? I'd love to see our guy have just myriad weapons that can take apart a defense. So I think Burks would fit the bill.
Yeah, he's someone that I would really like us to take a long, hard look at. And I'm kind of in that weird sort of situation of, okay, do you try to protect Zach Wilson with an offensive lineman, or do you try to get the weapon as well? And I don't think there's a Jamar Chase in this class. I don't think there's a Devonta Smith in this class. I don't think there's a Jalen Waddle in this class. I think last year's class of receivers was just kind of a step ahead. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have people that I think would fit us very well. And I think Burks is absolutely one of those types of players. Will Collins drops in the super chat, says, am I crazy to think that you pay Mosley the money owed in the contract to show your younger players that results are rewarded? No, you're not the only person. If you are, other people aren't paying attention, because you have to pay CJ Mosley this year $17.5 million, because if you cut him, you got to pay him $20 million, or at least your cap hit's going to be $20 million. So yes, you got to pay CJ Mosley this upcoming year, and then you probably move on from him for next year. I like CJ. I just think he is well beyond his prime at this point. Let's see. Get some of this stuff off the screen. So, Matt, do you have... Oh, hold on. I have mine. I'll share mine. Matt, what site did you use? Just so I know if I'm...
CBS.
Okay. So I'm gonna I'll go to Walter Football. It's not my most favorite of sites to use, but it's a fun one nonetheless. Let's see. Let's show it on the stream. Bam. All right. So let's see. They got Jacksonville. Well, hold on. Let's do this first. Guys, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that like button. For every 25 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick a qualifier to win a t-shirt at the end of this stream. Stream ends at 10 o'clock. Right now, I've got Christopher Merkovich, Tony G, Joe Lass, Kevin Benz, Lindles J, Adam Gase, and SDA Jets. SDA Jets. You guys are all qualified for our t-shirt giveaway. And if you're listening to this after the fact, just drop a comment on this video and you'll be entered into next week's stream giveaway as well. Oh, man, I'm trying to go through things. We're getting some super chats. So let's see if I can throw this back up here. Give me just a second here. Sneakers to Boots, brother. Sneakers to Boots says Zach Wilson made lemonade out of oranges with a squad we sent him to battle with. Mosley balled out this year. If he does the same next year, contract worth it. I don't think CJ Mosley's contract is going to be worth it next year unless the cap absolutely explodes. $17.5 million is a ton of money to pay a linebacker, and one that's not – I can't tell if Mosley is hiding some deficiencies that we have on defense or if he's kind of more of a liability in coverage. It could be something more on the safeties, so I'm not exactly sure how to answer this, but I do think Zach Wilson did make lemonade out of oranges with the practice squad that we sent them out there with. And I do think Mosley has played better than I gave him credit for this year. Matt, any thoughts on Mosley?
I think you have to bring him. I think early on in the year he was playing better. And then as the year has gone on, I think he's kind of tired a little bit, which is expected. He hasn't played in basically 2 years. I think you have to keep him around, one, because it doesn't make sense, cap wise to cut him and pay that huge hit, but also you're just so thin at the position and you have so much cap space, you can survive it for another year or two.
Green Bean, what about you? What do you think about Mosley and holding on to him?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we can all be thankful that he didn't just get the money and kind of say, hey, I don't need to do, to do anything. He's playing, man. I mean, he's playing. It looks like he's giving 100%, and I'm happy about that. I think he's trying to make the contract worth it. I don't know what he can do to make just under $18 million worth it, but at least he's doing that. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, we're locked into him, so there's really no reason for next year. Of course, I think the following year we can have discussions with him, but maybe Joe Douglas tries to lessen that number a little bit. And CJ Mosley might be open to that. So that would be interesting. But the truth is I love him. I think he's actually playing as hard as you would want somebody to play with that type of contract. And I would really love to pair him with a young, cheap linebacker. See, it all makes sense. Draft a young linebacker. You can get him on the cheap to pair with Mosley. And then I'd like to see some young legs around him so we can start thumping people.
Ryan Antinori drops him in the super chat, says, I think we go defense first round, offense second and third, then rest go defense. I don't think you can necessarily plan it like that per se, but I do think that we are going to focus on the defensive side of the ball this offseason. I think more than likely you see some type of split in both rounds. I think you probably see an edge rusher go first. I think you probably see either a wide receiver or an interior offensive lineman go next. Then maybe you get a tight end, and then maybe a linebacker, safety, something along those lines as well. Matt, if you had to work out something in your mind, ideally, where would you go with your first 4 picks? Or what do you think about defense first round, offense second, third?
It's kind of hard to go in with that mindset. Like, I don't know. I think you have to be a little bit more flexible than that. It very well, could break that way. Like, there's a world where you can go edge and linebacker, let's say, and then maybe you go wide receiver, tight end in round 2, and you pick up an offensive lineman in round 3, and then, round out from there. It's possible, but I think we see a little mix and match.
Green Bean, what about you? What do you think about first round defense, second and third round offense?
Well, I am hoping that it breaks like that, at least in the first round. I really would love to see some blue chip talent, or at least first round premium type guys, get injected to our defense. I agree with Matt. I mean, I think it really does consist of seeing what's there and how it all breaks and all that. But just for fun now, I think getting a tight end and a wide receiver or your interior offensive lineman in the second round would be smart, because you can probably still get the top tight end with our second round pick. I don't know how many are going to go in the first, if any. So I think that's still a good place to get one of the tight ends, if not the favorite tight end on your board. So I think it could go that way, but like Matt said, I think a lot's got to be revealed before you can say that.
So here's an interesting trade situation from Dr. Z. Thank you for the super chat, brother. He says, would you trade the 7th pick for Atlanta's 10th and 45? So this is a situation where you want to be in front of Carolina. Right now, Carolina has the 6th pick. If you can somehow wind up in front of Carolina and Atlanta wants to trade up and get their quarterback in front of their division rivals, then I think that is a huge, huge advantage. And I would 100% trade down from 7 to 10 and pick up the 45th pick. No questions asked. Regardless of who's on the board, I'm sliding back that far and I'm picking up that extra second round pick. Matt, how you feeling?
I would have to look at one of those charts things, and maybe there needs to be more in like next year.
Oh, let's see. Let's pull it up. Trade
Let's
value
do
chart.
it. That feels cheap to me, Matt. That feels cheap.
I like the idea of picking up or moving back 3 spots and then picking up pick 45 also.
All right, so 7 is worth 1,500. 10 is worth 1,300. So a difference of 200 points. If we get pick 40, what is it? 45?
Yeah.
45 would be 450 points. We would exceed what our current value of the 7th overall pick would be.
You would?
So
I still want more.
100% I would do that.
So then, yeah, I got in my Green Bean got in my head. My initial gut said yes, and then Green Bean started talking, and he got it.
It still
Green
feels
Bean,
cheap.
how are you feeling about this?
I love a good trade, man. You know that. I would rather see us get a pick next year. You know what I mean? For that, like slide down 3 spots, give us your first next year, kind of a thing. I would prefer that. But I mean, look, if the points are there, that's all well and good. But when somebody's coming up for their quarterback, they got to pay a premium for that. So I think we could squeeze a little bit more out of that, in my opinion. But sure.
Yeah, I think I would go so far as to say if you didn't want that 45th pick, I would give up another pick in some capacity later on. I'm talking like probably 4th, 5th, 6th to get a first next year. Or, whatever it kind of costs. Like, I'd rather more picks next year than more picks this year. But if 10-45 were the option, 100% I'm doing it. Let's see. We got Keith dropping in with a super chat. Man, you guys don't want us to go to the mock drafts. I love it. Huh. Keith says, would you take Cowboys tight end Schultz? How many tight ends do you need to get? 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 is the only upside tight end we have. Tight end position possibly. What do you do? Look, I would totally go for Schultz. I've heard a lot of good things. A lot of people really like him. I would say Schultz, OJ Howard, David Njoku, Mike Gesicki, Zach Ertz. Look, there's some options for you potentially in free agency. It just depends how much money you're willing to spend. I think someone like an OJ Howard or a David Njoku probably command a little bit less money. But the Cowboys are going to be in a little bit of cap trouble, so I do think he winds up hitting the open market, and I wouldn't be upset with that. That is, like Matt said earlier, tight end is a position I would like to sign one, draft one. Matt, how do you feel about Schultz?
He is the perfect fit for the Jets because he is such a good blocker as well, which they could really utilize that in this offense where guys like Mike Gesicki isn't really a tight end. He lines up as a big slot. He can't really block for anything. So while that's a great name in the receiving game or the receiving aspect of tight end, I think what the Jets are going to be looking to do in this offense, they need their tight ends to block a little bit. So Schultz is perfect for that. And then I would also draft one too in like the 2nd or the 3rd round and have Kenny 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢. He could be tight end 3. I'm cool with that.
Green Bean, what about you? How you feeling about Schultz?
Well, I'll be real honest. I'm not all that familiar with his skill set, but I'm buying what Matt's selling right now, and that's sounds good to me. But I do agree. I think grabbing one in free agency and bringing in a nice young, early round pick would be fantastic. With 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 sitting here with his first full NFL offseason, he's had a beautiful progression this year. That guy. So practice squad, then he makes the roster, then he's playing special teams, then he gets a couple plays on the offense. He did well. So I think he can be somebody that's on the upward ascension. And then so bring in a vet and bring in another young guy. I'd love it.
Guys, if you're just tuning in, make sure you hit that like button on your way in. Lots of things to talk about. Make sure you get your thoughts heard. For every 25 likes we get on this video, we're going to pick a qualifier for our t-shirt giveaway at the end of this stream. So all you have to do, hit that like button. If you're hanging out with us after the stream, make sure you drop a like and a comment to be entered for next week's shirt. And if you don't like watching the whole video aspect of this, we do have this available in podcast form. If you don't want to kill your phone battery, just head over to your favorite podcasting app and you'll be able to find this over there. Let's see. Where did I go? I just had something. Pat Dunn drops in with a super chat, says, would you guys be surprised if a player slips and JD jumps back into the first, like around the 20s? I would be a little surprised. But if let's say we trade down from 4 and then you have maybe a little bit more ammo to work with and you want to jump up from whatever our second round pick is up to the mid 20s to get someone who's falling that you really like, I think that's fine. But I would not give up, say, like, my brother reached out to me and he said something about like, oh, Nakobe Dean, like if he's there at the end of the first, would you trade up for him? And I'm like, no, look, I'm not giving up 2 firsts. I'm not giving up a third. Like I'm probably like, I want to make picks in my top 3 rounds. I think we need so much talent that would be important. But if you trade down, I'm all for trading back up to the first. Green Bean, what are your thoughts?
I completely agree with you. I think we need a lot of talent. Like and we happen to have a lot of picks up top. I'd hate to use 2 or 3 of them, whatever, to move up. Remember, we don't have any 6ths and we don't have any 7ths. So whatever we're using to get up there is going to be relatively expensive. I'd rather just keep our picks. If you want to slide back a little bit and gain more capital from next year, that's fine. Maybe throw in an extra 7 so we can take a kicker later or something like that. I'm all good. I'd really like to see us stay away from trading up in this draft at all costs.
Matt, what about you? What do you think about trading back into the first?
I'm kind of with Green Bean because, like you said, they don't have any 6th or 7ths to work with. So I think I'm kind of staying where I'm at with where we are in the draft.
Edward Ziff drops in with a super chat, says, if run game is dominant, that will free up Zach. Well, yeah, for sure. It definitely helps, but I think you need reliable pass catchers. If there's anything we saw this season, drops have really plagued us and prevented us from having longer sustained drives. So look, we need a receiver for sure, but our run game, this team is going to be built through the run game. And I thought Ty Johnson played well the other day. I think him kind of figuring out his drops is something very helpful because I think he's a tough runner. I love what we get out of Michael Carter. I really like what we got out of Austin Walter. And if we bring back Tevin Coleman, our backfield's okay for me. I could kind of live with that backfield across the board. All right, let's jump into our mock drafts that we had pulled up. So let me switch us over to here. Okay, so this one is from Walter Football. And this is not one that I generally like doing because Walter Football tends to kind of be all over the map on things. They have Jacksonville going Kayvon Thibodeau, number 1 overall. I get the feeling that the top offensive tackle, if that is Neal, I think that's where they go. I think they took 2 edge rushers in their last 3 or 4 drafts. It makes no sense not to protect your franchise quarterback, which maybe that means they are going to go edge because they are Jacksonville. But I would be very surprised if they went edge rusher over protecting their franchise quarterback. Detroit with Aiden Hutchinson, I think makes a ton of sense. Houston taking Karlaftis at number 3. So you're having 3 edges go at the top of this draft with the Jets taking Stingley at number 4. I'm not doing that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Yeah. If they have the Giants taking Okay, so it looks like
Pick
this
it.
was the lineup before this past week's slate of games. So the Jets have the 6th pick in this situation. So I'll get into that in a second. But they have Kenny Pickett going number 5 to the Giants. I'd be calling everyone or listening to calls either way. I'm moving out of 4. Like, I'm sorry. I'm either taking Neal or I'm moving down. I'm not making Derek Stingley the pick there. Matt, if you see the board kind of fall like this with Thibodeau, Hutchinson, Karlaftis, what are you doing at number 4?
Neal, I think.
Yeah. What
I
about
think.
you, Green Bean?
Sorry, go ahead.
What am I doing there? That's interesting. Probably take a defensive tackle.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Matt, I know you had something else.
I might grab the linebacker. I mean, I would grab Hamilton if the medicals check out and stuff like that. I would grab Hamilton for sure.
Okay. Matt, what about you? You look like you had something more to say.
No, I was just gonna say I'm a big proponent of Karlaftis, but if 3 edges go right in a row, then I don't know how you don't take Neal at that point.
Yeah, that would be.
Do you take 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫𝐢 up there?
I don't know. That feels a little rich for me. I would say with the
Doesn't it?
Well, I guess the 6th or 7th pick is what they're kind of looking. So they have Pickett going quarterback number 5 to the Giants. They did say they're going to hold on to Daniel Jones, but I don't buy that for a friggin' minute. I think they're trading for a quarterback, or they're going to try and draft one at the top of this draft. I could see them holding off and signing Wilson during the draft, possibly. I could see a situation kind of like that as well. So they have the Jets at number 6, taking Jermaine Johnson, the edge from Florida State. The Jets haven't possessed a great edge rusher in quite some time. That appeared to change in the wake of Carl Lawson signing, but suffering a season-ending injury. Even with his return next year, the Jets could use another player to put pressure on the quarterback on the opposite side. I'll be honest, I have not watched anything of Jermaine Johnson, so I cannot speak intelligently about this, but I do think edge rusher, based on what we did with our first pick, is absolutely where I'd go here. 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫 is kind of the one just that I have watched that I would go look at. But Matt, do you know anything about Jermaine Johnson?
From my understanding, I think he's like a late first, early second kind of guy. So this seems crazy high for him.
Walter football is a pain in the ass. Green Bean, what about you? How are you feeling about this pick?
I think it's silliness. I think that's a major reach. And look, we still have the combine and all that kind of stuff to see what guys do and where they shake out. But I think, that's a bad move. I've seen him rated somewhere in the 20s, like or like late teens as far as edge rushers go.
So check this out. Walter football has 3 quarterbacks going in the top 10. They have Kenny Pickett, number 5 to the Giants, Malik Willis from Liberty, number 7 to the Panthers, and Atlanta Falcons taking Matt Corral. So if I'm looking at this, the way this board has fallen, I would trade out of, you might get me to trade out of 4 and 6 or 4 and 7 to leapfrog.
There you go.
You're getting a ton of assets.
Yeah.
I'm not like, I want some blue chip players, but dude, if you're sitting in front of quarterback needy teams and quarterbacks could go that high, trade the hell back. Absolutely. I'm just curious to see where they wind up having people go. They have 𝐒𝐫𝐞𝐫 at 11, Hamilton at 13. I could see that. That feels like where you'd want to take the first safety, but if he's generational, obviously he could go a little bit higher. Let's see, pick 17 through 32.
By the way, Jermaine Johnson wasn't in the first round in my mock.
Well, so that in your mock that you have?
No, in the CBS one.
He went in the first.
Well, that's what I meant in the CBS one.
Yeah.
They have Drake Jackson, 19. So let's see, where are we? 18, 17, 18. Devin Lloyd. Linderbaum goes 21 to the Dolphins. Jameson Williams to the Pats. I think that makes a ton of sense for them. You wind up bringing in the same kind of situation that Burrow and – actually, no, Jameson Williams. Was he on Alabama last year or was he on Ohio State last year?
I don't
Was it 2
remember.
years ago he was Ohio State?
That's a good question.
He transferred. I don't know when he transferred. So it depends if he played with Mac Jones or not, because that would be just like a Burrow Chase kind of situation.
I don't think he lasts to 21 though.
No, neither do I. I would be very surprised. I think this is a horrible draft. There's Traylon Burks going to Detroit at 27.
Yeah,
Weidemeyer,
he was at Ohio State in 2020, by the way.
2020. Okay, so he did not play with
Mac
Jones at all. There's David Bell going number 32. Okay, let's take a look at the second round, see what they have the Jets going. Top of this round. Olave, Brandon Smith, linebacker, Penn State.
I like that one.
Yeah, I like linebacker. I'm fine with that. Green Bean, how you feeling about linebacker here?
Where are you? Where are you though? Oh, that's the second. Yeah, man. Hell yeah. Brandon Smith is somebody I like too. Hell yeah.
Penn State linebackers, they just seem to.
Linebacker, you.
Did Ryan freeze now?
I froze, or maybe that was Ryan. It wasn't just me.
No, I think we're good, and Ryan's frozen.
Hey, everybody. Oh no.
Oh,
I wonder if we're still live. Can you keep your eye?
Let me get us back on stream. Bam, bam, bam. Sorry, I don't know what the heck just happened. Okay. So what do you think, Matt? What do you think of Logan Hall, or not Logan Hall, but edge rusher? So we're taking 2 edges in our top 4 picks.
Logan Hall.
I don't like this mock draft at all. I'd be very upset if they took 2 edges in the top 40. That would be very upsetting to me.
I didn't realize I zapped off the screen, and I just saw, because there's a lag on like the YouTube thing that I have. There's like a 30-second delay. And I just saw that you two were like on screen and I was gone.
Yeah, we were like, I wonder if we're gonna, and then it went boop.
I know.
It's like that last time we did it.
Not.
We were like, oh, where the heck did Ryan go? Oh, he just texted me. He said we're still on air, but he doesn't know how it happened. Cut dead.
That was great.
Yeah.
Green Bean, what do you think about 2 edges in the first 4 picks that we have?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we probably could spread that around a smidgen. But if they did it, it would show an effort to rectify probably the most necessary aspect of the defense. The defense doesn't work without it. So seeing them take an extra swing for it, while I do agree with Matt, I think we probably have more stuff to do, but I would get it. I think I would understand it. It would also show that maybe Ronald Blair, Vinny Curry, those guys, they're not bringing them back, and we're just going with the young Bucs, you know?
That's probably a good way to word that. Matt, you got your mock draft queued up?
Yes, I do.
All right. If you want to share your screen, it should pop up on my side.
I understand. Let's proceed. Is it going to share?
I understand the sound of the porn playing in the background will be heard from everyone.
Oh, yeah, baby.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, here it is. All right. Bam. What we got, Matt?
Okay, Evan Neal as the first pick.
All right, that makes sense.
I don't think that they do that.
Really? What do you think? What do you think the Jags do at the top here?
I think that they take Kayvon Thibodeau.
You think they add a 3rd edge in 3 years?
Yeah.
4 years?
I do.
God damn, that's exactly what UCF Jaguar told me too, because I was reaching out to him and he's just like, "No, we're going edge." I don't like it.
I just think it'll be one of Hutchinson or Thibodeau in my opinion. I think more than likely it would be Thibodeau, but I just think those 2 guys are a cut above. That's all.
See, for me, I think I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like, you know what? Depending on who the head coach is that goes into Jacksonville will decide if this is an edge rusher or an offensive lineman. Because if it's someone like McCagnon, it's an edge rusher or a defensive lineman.
Yeah. Defensive tackle.
Dude, that's just it. It's like, but I feel like offensive lineman is where you would want to focus the majority of your assets because of the high first overall pick you took with Trevor Lawrence. Green Bean, what are your thoughts on Evan Neal going 1?
Yeah, well, I mean, look, this is what I hope happens, and I think you're right, Ryan. Like, if they hired, for example, Byron Leftwich for their head coaching job, I think it's going to be Neal. Like, they're going to focus on protecting Lawrence and and all that. If they get a defensive guy like a la Todd Bowles, maybe they bring him in. I think Matt's got it. I think he's going to find it too difficult to bypass the guys that are probably up. They're the real blue chippers of the draft, and Hamilton can be considered that by a lot of people. But so I think if it's a defensive guy, we have more of a chance of seeing one of the edge rushers go off the board. If it's an offensive coach, I think it's likely that they'll go with a tackle.
Rusty Spooner says, this is why God invented the devil's lettuce for the mock drafts. That is my favorite term for
is that right?
marijuana I have ever heard. The devil's lettuce is
devil's
just one of my
lettuce.
favorite things. All right, Matt, who we got going number 2 then?
Aiden Hutchinson.
Okay, that makes sense. Number 3.
𝐒𝐿.
Wow, so I've been kind of following all my mocks on Tankathon, and I know that's probably not the best way to do it because they're not really like a mock draft site. But that is definitely the highest I have seen him go. What are your thoughts on tackle at 3 for the Texans?
I think that they could do it. I would, with how this board is breaking, I would think that Thibodeau would be the pick, right? For them. Like, I'm surprised that they go 𝐒𝐿.
Yeah, I would think so as well. I would think edge would make more sense than tackle for them. I heard rumors that they might think about trading Tunsil. That feels weird to trade after giving up 2 firsts for him. But I guess you have a different GM head coach situation.
Totally different crew, right?
Yeah,
that's true.
Matt, show us Kayvon Thibodeau at number 4.
Yeah, that would make sense, right?
Charles Cross. What?
Charles Cross. There it is.
The hell
that makes so much sense.
I
don't know. I hate it.
Hate it.
Go on an infant punching rampage if this happened.
Look at that prospect ranked 29th.
That's
yeah. Why not?
Okay, let's move down. Let's see something else.
You know what this is? Guys? This is more national media taking shots at the Jets. That's all this is. It's a veiled. It's a kick in the balls on purpose by design. See?
Oh God! Oh my!
It's working.
Real quick.
Yeah.
John Wahidi says, would you guys replace Ulbrich with Zimmer or Fangio? I'm going to say no. And I've been pretty high, not high on Ulbrich, but high on the idea that we didn't spend our last 2 off seasons of premium assets on defense. The guys we brought in before, Joyner, Lawson, Curry, Blair, all out. Haven't seen them play to help us go from a 3-4 defense to a 4-3 defense. You wind up trading away Leonard Williams and Jamal Adams, both the right moves, don't get me wrong, but you're losing additional talent from that side of the field. Not to mention all the injuries. We have 26% of our salary cap on IR. That is the highest in the NFL. So for me, I would say I am not giving up on Ulbrich right now because of how little we have done to support him. I think you'd be cutting off your nose to spite your face. Matt, let's slide down to pick 5. What are we looking at?
Now we start to make some sense.
God!
I know. Could you imagine if it broke like that? I would lose it.
Dude, I would. Oh, God, I would. Our draft stream would light up like a goddamn Christmas tree.
And for good reason.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, my God.
Who we got at 7?
Yeah.
Or 5 or 6, I mean.
6. Matt Corral.
All right, let's dude, I want to screw the Panthers in the worst way. I want someone to trade up in front of both the Giants.
There it is. That makes sense.
Yep, I like it. I think that makes sense too.
All right, ready?
That makes sense.
Who we got?
Sam's done.
Done. That's like the worst draft I've ever seen, Matt. You did this on purpose.
Yeah, I did.
See, now you're driving for clicks. That's what this is. This is no, I do not want Stingley. Look, I can wrap my head around Stingley at the Seattle pick. I can wrap my head around it, but only if we're getting an edge at the top. I don't want to. I don't know. This is
Derek Stingley. Yeah, that would
blow steam out my ears. I don't want Stingley at all in the first round.
All right, do you want to go through the rest of this?
Yeah, well, yeah, absolutely. Does it go to the second round at all?
10, right?
No, it's the whole first round. It doesn't do.
Okay. Let's see what's going on. Oh, of course the Giants get Karlaftis and fucking Linderbaum. Go kick or no, they get Thibodeau and Linderbaum.
Yeah, Thibodeau and Linderbaum.
I would be very, very upset.
You know how many Jets fans would jump off a roof if that happened?
I'd be throwing my computer out my window over here. God dang it. Okay. Let's see what else is going on.
Pickett, Hamilton at 10. Booth, Garrett Wilson, first receiver off the board at 12.
Okay.
Minnesota going wide receiver with
that doesn't make any sense to me at all. Are they getting rid of Thielen?
Yeah.
Like, is he like up for a contract or too high of a cap hit or some shit?
I don't think so.
It feels completely wrong for them to do that.
That strange. Our boy Karlaftis at 13 to Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Nakobe Dean 14. Jameson Williams to the Saints. That would be dynamic.
Mm-hmm.
Ojabo to the Ravens. Malik Willis to the Steelers. Kaiir Elam to the Raiders. Another first round receiver for the Eagles.
You know what I heard? I heard someone recommend a trade of Rager for Denzel Mims, and I would do that in a heartbeat. 100% in a heartbeat.
I wouldn't.
Oh, dude,
Rager
I don't
sucks.
look. We're not using him. I would much rather change the scenery Rager. I feel like Rager fits the shifty smaller guy better than some other.
Yeah.
So then are you not re-signing?
Show us you can develop them.
No. I'm re-signing Braxton Barrios, but if I have to give up Mims for like a 4th round pick or for Rieger, I'm taking Rieger because the upside, 100%. If that pushes Berrios down the list a little bit, or if you have to do different formations for it, I'm okay with it. But I don't want to take a 4th for Mims if I can get Rieger.
How tall? Jalen Rieger's got to be like 5'9" too, right? He's small.
He's small. He's definitely not very big.
Yeah, he's a small guy.
But would you rather take a 4th round pick for Mims instead?
Yes, because then I would use that elsewhere. Because then
Yeah, me too.
Okay. You're gonna I thought it was interesting. I was like, oh, okay. You know what? I didn't even think of Rager, but I would prefer Rager. Well, I prefer Mims just play well. So,
yeah, I would.
I think. Look, you got to push reset.
Yeah, I would prefer him to remember how to play football.
Sorry,
but that was just I don't know, bizarre sophomore year.
What else we got?
It is the weirdest.
Roger McCreary, Kenyon Green, Kendrick, Traylon Burke. Arizona's going to take. They have a million receivers.
So Kirk is a free agent. AJ Green was on a 1-year deal. So I mean, maybe if they don't want to bring back Green, but that feels like a very odd situation.
I don't get that at all. Gardner.
Yeah, they've been drafting receivers every year, though, man. They've been drafting receivers every year, more than one, too.
So maybe we're behind the curve. Maybe we have to go receiver early on. And that's like, it runs through the offense, right?
Cowboys go linebacker again.
So
interesting.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Dots RIP.
And Jabril, they still have Jabril Cox, too. Oh,
yeah, we never even talked about Antonio Brown tonight. Shocked. Or about the Eccles ball signing too. There's the 2 things we didn't touch on.
Okay, and that's how they round it out. But that mock draft.
That's rough.
Not my favorite.
All right, let's see. Here's the one I just pulled up. So they got Jags going Hutchinson. For some reason I would really like Hutch to go to the Lions because he's that Michigan guy. Like that's just sort of where I like my ideal storytelling brain would like to see that go. Thibodeau to the Lions. Sense. What was that?
I said it makes sense. I'm with you.
Yeah, right. Like it's kind of, I don't know. It's fun to keep the hometown guy in state. Evan Neal at 3 for Houston. That's kind of, I feel like those are the top 3 picks that are on a lot of mock drafts. Then they have the Jets going Kyle Hamilton. I have no problem with this. I guess because you're probably not mocking trades or anything, but I would like to see what goes on for a trade. They have Giants taking Karlaftis at number 5. I'd be pretty upset. And then Stingley at 6. Like, I'm sorry, I'm not going back-to-back defensive backs at all in Hamilton and Stingley. Like, I'll say this. Stingley is the player I do not want for the Jets. I saw another YouTuber that was talking like, oh, yeah, Jets take Stingley. That makes a lot of sense. I'd be like, no. No, as I started ranting on his channel. I was like, I'm so sorry. But, like, no, don't do it. Greenby, what are your thoughts on Stingley and Hamilton?
I see the logic. I see it. It's not what I would like to see. I mean, I understand grabbing Hamilton there. If the edge rushers are gone, the real blue chip edge rushers, Karlaftis, you can make a case, but his numbers are significantly different. So a lot of people don't like him. So I think it makes sense, but then following that with Stingley does not make sense. Although, I mean, it does make sense, but I don't think it makes sense for us and what we're going to do. And personally, I don't like it. I'm halfway in.
Dude, look at the Giants draft. Karlaftis and Linderbaum. Like, that's exactly what I feel like I would want. And then you got Corral going at number 7. So this must be another one, because the Jets, I think, are sitting at 7, right? Or are we at 7 or 6? I thought we were at 7.
7, right?
We are 7. Okay, so this one's a week old too. So I'm just bad at picking mock drafts. They have Corral going 7. I'm trading out of 6, and I'm trading out of 4. Like, if this is the situation, but I would want an edge rusher, 100%. Matt, what are your thoughts on Stingley and Hamilton?
With Karlaftis sandwiched in the middle, that was like a personal attack on me. I feel like I didn't care for it one bit. Yeah, I would be. I don't know. I would question why Joe Douglas decided to go that route. And I know this is out of context too, because like it doesn't include free agency, but just looking at the context of just this draft, then I'd be a little upset, I think.
Matt, while I'm scrolling through the rest of this, can you pull up another mock draft that you like?
Well, I got one.
Ooh, Green Bean's got one. Okay.
Green Bean.
All right.
Yeah,
so we got
you guys
Sauce Gardner at 24, Treylon Burks to the Bills at 25. Kenyon, that's the farthest I've seen Kenyon Green fall, down to 27.
Oh yeah.
Lions taking Howell at 28. That doesn't feel right. I think Goff is their quarterback next year, and they're pulling the trigger next year.
Yeah, I don't know though. That makes sense though. Like if you're going to have a guy in here that you like, you don't trade up or anything to get him. You don't use the first overall or second overall pick to get him. Let him sit behind Goff for a year. Or 6 games, 8 games, whatever it is. It makes sense.
Yeah, if you love them, I get it. I feel like end of the first round is a weird situation for quarterbacks, at least since the rookie pay scale has been into effect. I mean, I guess Lamar was a late round pick, right? So could be the same. All right, Green Bean, let's see what you got.
Okay. All right. So it's also CBS, but it's not the one that Matt picked. Okay.
All right, let's take a look at it. Who's going number 1?
All right, here we go. We got Kayvon Thibodeau for number 1 to Jacksonville.
Okay.
Seems, then Aiden Hutchinson. So they're gone. Just like that. Yep. It's over. You know what I mean?
1-2.
Derek Stingley to the Texans.
That's the highest.
I'd like that.
I was going to say that's the highest I've seen Stingley go. If this is the top 3, without looking at what 4 is right now, I'm looking at Neal. I think Neal or Karlaftis. One of those two would be my pick.
Yeah, me too.
So Neal or Karlaftis.
Okay,
there it is.
All right.
Karlaftis. So there he is. We get an edge rusher, whether you like him or not. We got a top 5 edge rusher in the house. So. There you go. The Giants follow that with the tackle. People are calling him Icky. I hear. It's something I've heard. Oh, look at this.
Okay. I could totally get down with this. I like this.
See? This is smart. This makes sense. Even though I don't feel the need for a tackle like a lot of other people, but it's smart. It makes sense.
So
who's
at number 7? Is it a quarterback?
Yeah,
dude, I'm moving out of 7, or I'm moving out of 6. I like Neal. I would not be upset with these picks, but I'm trying to find another team like Atlanta to move in front of Carolina if this is what we're looking at.
Totally. You got to let them know. Hey, dude, it's happening.
Yeah,
This
dude.
is your chance.
Yeah, hey, you want to flip
This is your
back?
chance.
You want to jump up one pick? Give us a 3rd round pick. You can hop up to 6. We'll drop down to 7. 100% all day.
Totally. That's
does
right.
that-
So look, then we got the Giants. Kyle Hamilton makes it to pick 6 with the, or 8. I'm sorry, with the Giants.
What was their
Nice.
first
Look at this
pick?
position rank first, prospect rank first.
What was the
This
Giants'
is their first.
first?
Oh no,
pick?
no, I'm sorry. Icky,
Icky. Okay,
the tackle.
that's not crazy, I guess.
No. So then we got Washington comes in with there's our boy, Chris Cross or Charles Cross. I mean,
Chris Cross.
Then, yeah, Mac Daddy make you jump. Remember that song?
Jump.
Jamison Williams going to the really. I guess they're okay. They're just fortifying behind Matt Ryan. That's what they've decided to do.
Well, you don't know what's going on with
Oh,
Calvin
there he
Ridley,
goes,
right?
Devin Lloyd.
Ridley might not play again. Who knows, dude? If he's got something serious going on, and who else they got?
Right.
They got Gage and they got Patterson right now, but Patterson needs a contract.
Well, and you took Pitts last year. He's electric.
Sure.
You know, he's good.
I guess they love Matt Ryan and they don't
Devin
want
Lloyd.
quarterback.
And there's Sauce Gardner at 12 to the Vikings. It makes sense. And then this Liberty quarterback thing. Truth is, I haven't watched much of them, but it just seems odd.
Yeah,
At a quarterback from Liberty. You know,
Liberty.
I definitely
Browns. Oh, there's Linderbaum. Everybody, there goes everybody's boy.
pick 14.
That makes sense.
Yep. And then the Steelers grab, a quarterback. There it is, a quarterback. Ben Roethlisberger walks off into the sunset.
Did you guys watch the game last night? Yo, I was on with Blewett last night, and he was going against Freiermuth. He was up by 16 points. So he was winning, like, I'm talking 4 digits worth of money right now. And he texted me as soon as the game ended, dude, I won. I got so friggin' Blewett wound up winning his fantasy league yesterday, wound up winning 4 digits.
Good for
But
him.
he was going against Freiermuth, or he
Going
had
against
Freiermuth?
Freiermuth. He was going against. He was up by 16 points. The most Freiermuth had ever scored this year was like 18 points, I think is what he was saying.
Wow. Interesting. Well, good for him. That's good news, right?
Hell yeah.
That's good news. Jordan Davis, defensive line to the Chargers. The Raiders come out and grab Garrett Wilson, wide receiver. The Ravens get Darian Kennard, another tackle. That's 4 tackles, is it? I think, or 3.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Kenyon Green at 19. Look at the Eagles with the package of picks, and then they take a linebacker, Drake Jackson. I didn't see N'Kobe Dean yet. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Drake Jackson is more of an edge rusher, though. So he's my 3-4 outside linebacker, but he's also hand in the dirt.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Trevor Penning, line for the Dolphins. They need it. Chris Olave, pick 22 to the Pats.
There's N'Kobe Dean.
There he is, the Eagles. Trent McDuffie, I like him.
Mm-hmm.
I like him in the second. You know what I mean? I mean, if he doesn't make it, doesn't make it, but I would look at him in the second if he was there. Elam, another cornerback for Buffalo. Why not? Darian Kendrick, another one. And there's Traylon Burks. That's Matt's boy. From now on, that's your boy. Trayvon Walker, defensive line. Drake London, another one. Here come the wide receivers. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Dallas with another wide receiver.
That tells me they're cutting
Dotson.
Cooper.
That right? Hey, it might mean that.
Ojabo all the way at 31. Damn, man, I must be totally off on my values because maybe Ojabo is not worthy of a top 10 pick.
Well, for the
Maybe.
Jets, it would be tough because he's more of a stand-up rusher, so you'd be converting him to a defensive end, which frightens me a touch.
Okay.
Totally. It doesn't always work out, man.
Oh, definitely not.
Vernon
It doesn't
Gholston.
always work.
All
Yeah,
right.
there he is. And George Pickens. And then Baker Mayfield's getting traded to the Texans or something. That's what they're saying.
Well, he was at Texas Tech, right? So I guess maybe there's some sort of situation. If I were the Browns, I would not be paying Baker Mayfield a lot of money. I would either let him play out his contract and franchise him a la Kirk Cousins, or I'd be looking really hard at Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers this offseason.
Yep.
Yeah. It's crazy that somebody's going to get, Russell Wilson not in the, for the Seahawks is going to be weird. Aaron Rodgers not in Green Bay is going to be wacky.
Where do you think they wind up going? I still feel Russell to New York fits the best. And man, I would love to I guess they probably get Daniel Jones in that package, but man, I would love to trade out of 4 or 6 or 4 and 7, whatever it is, and allow another team to jump the Seahawks to get their quarterback. I'm I don't know. I don't have anything against the Seahawks, but I have everything against the Seahawks because Jamal Adams.
Yeah, totally. You want to see, and we play them next year too. How great would it be for them to be dead smack in the middle of a complete tear down, and we go in there, smack Jamal Adams around with our young, bursting team? Wouldn't that be great? Seriously.
I'd love it. Our buddy Sack Exchange jumps in with a last-second super chat, says, "Hey, brothers, just want to say hi, contribute to the channel, keep up the good work." Thank you so much, brother. Stack Exchange, one of the most generous people that we've come across on the channel.
Hey, there was one more super chat. He didn't put a question, but you got it. His question is here.
Barney Miller?
Barney, did you see his question? Did we do it?
I didn't see the question. I threw it up on the screen. Hold on, let me see if I can see it. What was the question?
He was saying, I'm going to paraphrase now. I had it, but I lost it. He said, do you think we're going to trade back for more picks in the draft?
I think that's what depending on how the board breaks, I would absolutely trade back, but I don't mind trading back for next year's picks because we have 9 picks this year. So yeah, I would trade back in certain situations, but I would prefer next year's picks to this year's picks.
Yeah, I agree. I would rather and look, if you can get a 6th or 7th thrown in that back end just to get a jump on the undrafted free agent class, I'd like that too. But next year's pick would be the way for me.
Matt, what about you? How are you feeling about trading down?
I kind of want to take these high. Well, I mean, it depends on the situation, but I kind of want to take some of these high end talent guys instead of moving back.
So if you're looking at, let's say, whoever your top 3 picks are off the board, do you have a 4th one that you feel comfortable enough pulling the trigger on? Like, is Karlaftis that guy?
At 4, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, boys and girls, we have reached the end of our stream. So we get to give out a t-shirt. Green Bean, could you go to last week's stream that we had? I'm going to have you pick 5 names. Pat Dunn drops in with a super chat, says, "Great show tonight, guys." Thank you, Pat.
Yeah.
We like you, Pat. You can stay around for a little bit.
I know.
And then we got Matt. Could you go to yesterday's stream for me with me and Blewett? Let's pick 5 people from that stream as well. Edward Ziff says, "Who's a good edge next year?" We've talked about him. Ed, you know it. Come on. Karlaftis, Ojabo, Drake London. Is it Drake London?
No,
Jackson? Drake Jackson.
Jackson.
Thibodeau.
Yeah.
Karlaftis. Hutchinson. Right, we got a whole bunch. Then there's some hitting free agency like Chandler Jones, Von Miller. I don't know. We're gonna have a few options, but top of the draft feels like where we'd want to go. Green Bean, you got 5 names for me?
Sure.
All right, fire away.
We got Clifford Serrett, Serrett.
Clifford. How do you spell last name?
S as in Sam, Errett.
Okay.
We have Mark Ferraro, Ferraro.
Okay.
Jessica Moore, Moore, 82711.
Okay.
Chrono Kenny, CHRONO, Kenny.
Chrono Kenny.
Yep.
Okay.
And B, the letter B, Bulldog Daddy.
Nice.
All right, Matt, give me 5 names.
Casey Smooth.
There he is.
Smooth. He must be subscribed to Manscaped. Next.
Gotta be. This is a good name. Kadeem Prescott.
Kadeen.
With an M at the end.
All right. Dean Prescott. All right. Okay.
Elaine Chen.
Elaine Chen. All right.
Paul Watterson.
Paul Watterson.
New Jersey, the Super Trucker.
New Jersey, the Super Trucker. I needed 2 lines for that. That's ridiculous. All right, boys and girls, here we go. We're doing some odds and evens. 3, 2, 1. All right, we got evens. Evens across the board. All right, odds or evens. 3, 2, 1. Going odds. All right, 3, 2, 1. 7, 8. We're going evens.
Let's go.
Huh.
All right, we are down to 3 names. 3 names. Chat, give us a number in the chat. The first number that pops up, we're going to use. 3, 2, 1. Matt, Green Bean.
Oh,
I thought you said the chat.
We are. We love the chat, but yeah, but we usually add it up. Okay, we got 4. What was it? 48. Oh, fuck you, Matt. Well, wait, what were your number? We were even?
1.
Okay, we were even, and then there was a 2. Okay, so we're going evens. Ooh, we get one more shot. We're down to Joe Lass and New Jersey, the Super Trucker. All right. All right, first number after Braden Bathwaite plus whatever we wind up calling. It's a 69. I'm not mature enough to handle this. Green Bean, number.
Wow.
All right, we got evens plus 69. We're going odds. All right, so New Jersey, the Super Trucker. You're going to wind up winning our t-shirt for tonight. Reach out to me on one of my social media channels, Jets Talk 247@gmail.com, or one of my other social media channels. I'll get your information. Boys, this has been a great stream. Let's go around the horn, give our closing thoughts. Green Bean, any last thoughts for our panel?
Yeah, man. Good show, guys. Sorry about the glitches in the beginning. I'm glad I got past it so I can hang with you guys. But everybody in the chat, we do the After Hours Jets Fest at 10:30 following this stream over on Green Bean Jets Fan. Everyone is welcome. We have a good time in there. We usually hang out till about midnight. I'll see you there.
Matt, any last words for our panel?
1 more week, and then the best time of the year for us starts, the off season, baby.
Yeah, we're the champs.
We love the off-season, boys and girls. Boycott the beat. Make sure you tune in and support your independent Jet content creators. If you want to check out a shirt, make sure you head over to Matt's channel, pick up one of these sweet shirts. Boys, it's been a lot of fun flying with you tonight. My name's Ryan. This is Jets Talk signing off. JETS.